Top Middle-earth Epic Moments, Part 2. Hello, and welcome back to another video from Secrets of the Rings, where we celebrate and delve deep into all things Tolkien. Join us today as we continue exploring the top 10 epic moments in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, in no particular order. Let's look at the characters and events that stand out in the long and exciting history of Middle-earth. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe for more content, and let us know what you would like to see more of. Part 2 of our list begins with a dual feature, the arrival of Saruman's uruk-hai and the Battle of the Hornburg. The Battle of the Hornburg was one of the major battles of the trilogy, fought between Theoden's army and the forces of Saruman. Saruman's army included men from Dunland, long rivals of Rohan, but more importantly, a massive number of violent uruk-hai warriors and various other hybrid beings. Saruman, allied with Sauron yet seeking to undermine him, had created an army of more than 10,000 soldiers. Uruk-hai, in Black speech, translates to orc folk, and is most commonly used to reference a specific breed of orc, and from Saruman's army in particular, yet they first appeared out of Mordor in Third Age 2475 in an assault on Ithilien. In Third Age 2480, they were among several other races to be sent to infest the Misty Mountains by the Dark Lord Sauron. The Uruks were larger and far stronger than standard orcs, wielding shorter and straighter blades in comparison. Another major distinction is their ability to withstand sunlight, allowing for more effective travel. They were weapons of war, donning the red eye of Sauron or the white hand of Saruman from Mordor and Isengard respectively. Saruman would use the uruk-hai to wage war on Rohan from Isengard, an old Númenórean fortress he'd taken leadership of in the 2700s of the Third Age. The surrounding lands of Orthanc became known as Nan Curinir, the Wizard's Vale, which became a breeding ground for orcs by the 2900s. Unbeknownst to the White Council, Saruman was in service of Sauron. He'd stripped Nan Curinir and beyond of its forests to fuel the war machine, and sent his wickedness into Rohan's spirits, in part thanks to his infiltrator, Grima Wormtongue, an advisor to King Theoden. The Battle of the Hornburg would be the major culmination of the feud between Rohan and Isengard, but it was preluded by two battles at the Fords of Isen, an important river crossing. On February 25th, of Third Age 3019, the Uruks and the Dunlendings were deployed to kill the heirs of Rohan, slaying Prince Theodred, making Eomer the next heir. The very next day, Eomer defied the orders of King Theoden, still under spell by Saruman, and unknowingly freed Merry and Pippin into Fangorn Forest after attacking a band of orcs. There they would meet Treebeard, setting in motion the last march of the Ents. The second battle fought at the Fords of Isen, a week after the first, was intended to avenge the death of Theodred. The attack was unsuccessful, but that same day, Gandalf managed to rescue King Theoden from Saruman's influence, and the Entmoot concluded, leading to the attack on Isengard. Rohan's forces were en route to the battle to ensure it stayed away from the general population, but changed course for Helm's Deep when they got news of the defeat. Helm's Deep was a fortress within a gorge created to guard the Gap of Rohan, named after Helm Hammerhand, a former king who defended it from the rival Dunlendings. It is there this major battle in the War of the Ring would unfold. Saruman's army of uruk-hai, Dunlendings, and more ambushed the fortress of Helm's Deep on March 3rd, eventually making their way past the ramparts and scaling the walls. Once within, they were met with stones and arrows from the men of Rohan. Meanwhile, Legolas and Gimli led the defense of the glittering caves. Orcs had burst open the one small culvert along the walls. That one culvert, destroyed by explosives, stood as the main weak point of the entire fortress and was a focus of Saruman's creative and destructive weaponry for this battle. Despite the onslaught of Saruman's army, Aragorn and King Theoden led an inspiring charge from the main keep, pushing the enemy back, out past Helm's Dyke. It was a major breakthrough, but not enough to secure their safety. The promise of victory grew nigh when the Huorns blocked the escape of any orcs, while Gandalf arrived with Erkenbrand and the forces from the battles at the Fords of Isen. The Huorns, another race of tree-like beings, sought revenge along with the Ents for Saruman's destruction against the green life of Middle-earth. The reinforcements secured the victory as an alliance of many different races defeated Saruman in a major battle. Theoden would allow remaining Dunlendings who fought against him to join his service, as opposed to death. The Battle of the Hornburg was preceded by the destruction of Isengard, where the Vale was flooded by the Ents and the Huorns, but the Tower of Orthanc remained sturdy, with Saruman trapped inside. Refusing to realign with Gandalf and the rest, Saruman would also lose the Palantir, thanks to Grima Wormtongue thrusting it at King Theoden. The epic quarrel in the depths of Rohan saw a massive victory for the heroes and their overcoming of the uruk-hai assault. Saruman suffered a defeat from which he could never recover, but the primary threat in Sauron still remained. After the Palantir was recovered from Saruman, Aragorn found himself peering into it and revealed himself to Sauron, who recognized him as the heir of Isildur and rightful king of Gondor. Much of the forces that the Dark Lord amassed thus far were released onto the White City of Minas Tirith. As the siege of Gondor escalated, the defensive forces became spread thin along the walls of the city. Morale was low, as severed heads were flung amongst the defending soldiers, and the deafening cries of the fell beasts rang terrible and loud. The Witch King helped to breach the Great Gate, then facing off against Gandalf for a brief but powerful moment. The standoff was interrupted by the next epic moment on our list, the Ride of the Rohirrim. The horns of the Rohirrim sounded off from the Ramas Echo, beginning the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. King Theoden and his 6,000 men charged in defiance of their being outnumbered 10-1 after the king beckoned his riders. "Arise, arise, riders of Rohan! Fell deeds awake, fire and slaughter! Spear shall be shaken, shield be splintered! A sword day, a red day, ere the sun rises! Ride now, ride now, ride to Gondor!" J.R.R. Tolkien, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, The Ride of the Rohirrim. The Rohirrim were crucial in halting the invasion of Gondor, along with the relief provided by Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas with the army of the dead. This ride is one of many inspiring times throughout the story where all hope seems lost, but those who cling to it prevail. Despite successfully relieving Gondor, the Rohirrim would suffer a great loss in the death of their king Theoden, at the hands of the Witch King of Angmar. As he fell, another warrior stood face to face with the Witch King, the disguised niece of the king, Lady Eowyn of Rohan, bringing us the next event on our list, Eowyn versus the Witch King.